Hi and welcome back for the part number 9 of the construction of the side-scrolling shooter in pixel art. Today we'll talk about an iconic element of this kind of games, the power-up. Before we start, I have to rename this sprite here. I forgot to do it last time. Let's call it life bar. Otherwise we forget about it and we don't understand what it is. Okay, now we go on the sprite layout and we create our power-up. Right click, insert new object, and we go on the sprite and right click again on the animation frame window, import frame from files, and as usual I have already created all the frames and we load all of them. Let's delete the first frame, and as you can see the collision box is already set up to take the entire image area. This is all for all the frames. Let's check the origin point. In this case it's okay in the middle, and it's the same for all the frames. We go now on the animations, right click, wrong window. This is the animation window. Okay, this one here. Right click, duplicate. Let's call the first animation live. This live animation has all the frames like the default animation. But let's say that we want the sprite to move from one red to another, these two shaders here. So we need to delete all the other extra frames. Just press delete on the keyboard. Okay. Now we are ready with this new sprite, and we call it power up. Okay. Now if we double check, go inside again, we notice that it has two animation, default and live. In default all the frames, and in live we have only the two reds, as you can see here. If we double check, we can see that the collision box and origin point are kept the same as in the original animation. Let's do the same thing for all the animations that we want to create for this tutorial. So let's duplicate this one and let's call it speed. And even here, we are going to delete all the colors that we don't need. Let's say for speed we leave the blue, perhaps these two shades of blue. Okay, yeah, I mean it's fine. So let's delete the others. Let's close this one and let's duplicate another one more time. We call it laser, and we leave the yellow shades for this one. Okay, next let's keep duplicating, and we call it missile. Okay, and we go here. Oh, something's wrong. Okay, I've made a mistake. Can you see it? Trying to be quick, I haven't noticed that I have modified the default animation. Be careful because the visual feedback isn't immediate. So I rename this laser in default underscore to don't have duplicate with the other one, and this all default we rename it in laser. Okay, problem solved. Now let's duplicate for the new animation. I lost the window. Okay, let's rename it in missile, and this time maybe we leave it with the cyan shades. So let's delete this. Okay, let's duplicate again the default one, and let's rename it fire. See how it's easy to get confused? I can see the yellow laser frame, so just double check everything. Laser is yellow, and life is red, speed is blue, default all the colors. Besides cyan, yeah, fire, we are going to leave the purple maybe. Okay. Now that we have completed all the animations, we can delete the default one or leave it. In this case, I delete it to have a more clear list here. Here you can change the order if you like, just drag the animation where you want. And let's close the window. Now that we have created the power up with all its animations, another thing to do is to add the usual behaviors. Destroy outside layout. Then we add a bullet with a starting speed of I don't know, something, we don't want to go very fast, or something very low for now. And then on set angle we say no. And another behavior to add is the sign. As we did before, we want that the player has to move between the bullets and the enemies to make it a little bit difficult. So we put the movement as a vertical, and the magnitude of 20 for now. We can adjust it later. Okay, let's close this one. And for now we have done everything that we need on this layout. Let's go to our events and let's close all the groups to make order. Yeah. Okay, what we want to do now is that when the player collides with the power up, we destroy the power up and the player gets its bonus. Let's start adding a new group called power up. Okay, and then press the B button to add a sub event. And then we say when the player is on collision with another object, and we choose the power up. So when this happens, we add another sub event and we compare the power up animation. So power up, here on this group animation you can see compare frame, compare speed is playing. We go on is playing and we type speed. So we compare if the animation is currently playing speed. Okay, so we go to the player, check the speed and add to it 10. We can increase the value in two ways, using the option add to that you find in the instance variable down here. And then we need to choose the instance variable of the player that we want to modify. Now here we have only life, so we have to create first the speed variable and then relate to it later. Or otherwise we can go to alter directly the speed value in the behaviors. So it's something that you can add later if you want to make a more complicated mechanics. But for now, let's keep it simple. So the player has speed values both in a direction and in the bullet behavior. In this case, since we want the player to be faster when it's controlling the spaceship and not when it's falling, we go to modify the value in the eight direction behaviors. So we leave this ignore and we go in the eight direction and we choose set max speed and we're going to work with this one. The maximum speed has to increase by 10 compared to the current value. We can get the current value typing player here. Then we add the dot, and as you can see, a list will pop up. You see all the values related to the player. In this case, it's a direction because related to this behavior, and dot again, and we have again the list with the values of the direction, and we choose max speed. So if you don't remember the name of the value, just add the dot, and the list with the suggestion will pop out. Let's add the plus 10. Okay. So what do we have here? When the player touches the power up, if the power up is playing the speed animation, the max speed increases by 10. Now, Let's set as default of the power up animation speed. So we go down here on the properties, and if you see initial animation speed, okay, we need to put a power up in game. So we go on the system and choose every X seconds. So let's say 10 seconds, maybe just for a quick test. Okay, and then add action, system, create another object. The object is a power up on the layer game. Add the position camera dot x plus 160, so 160 pixels to the right of the camera, at the y equals to camera dot y. Done. And now we say that when it starts, it must play the speed animation. So we type here speed. We change it later during the game with some fields depending on the power up. Another thing to do is to set the angle of motion to 180 degrees. This because, as usual, the bullet goes by default to the right, while instead we want it to move from right to left. Let's try to see what happens. Let's kill some enemies before they come inside the screen. By the way, this is something that needs to be fixed. And it should come soon, the power up. There it is. Okay, you can see that it's blue as the speed color, that's correct. But first of all, it's not changing the color as it's supposed to be. This is because we forgot to put yes in the loop of the animation, and the collision is not working. So let's have a look why. Let's go back to the events and let's go to fix the loop. This is an easy fix. Just go on each animation and set yes to all the loop options. Here, yes, then yes again, missile, yes, fire, yes. Okay, let's double check. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, all good. The other issue was that there is the collision, but we don't see any result. So we have to add a sub-event with no condition here that say to destroy the power-up after the collision. So we search for destroy, or as usual we can type it here, destroy. Okay, and we'll duplicate this command here to generate the other power-up after testing if all works fine. And at the end of all these conditions, no matter what, the animation of the power-up will be destroyed. Okay, let's see if this time everything works fine. And I take the chance to remind you that if you decide to buy the asset pack, you will find lots of different spaceships that you can use for the enemies or for the players. You might also create a different spaceship for the second player, or let the player choose between 8 planes having different skills. Okay, now you can see that the animation loop is working and the colors are blinking. And let's take it. Okay, the spaceship moves faster every time I collect the power up. I'm not sure if you can see the difference from the video, but you will notice it straight away when building the game and testing it. Let's go back to our events now. As I said before, we are going to duplicate the animation check, and we create one for each of our power up. So we keep duplicating this. Let's duplicate twice at a time. Okay. This we change it to life. The second one we change in laser. Done. And if you see, if you put the quotation marks, you have all the suggestions, so it's easy for you to to pick up the animation name in case you have many, you don't remember exactly what you wrote. And this one is fire. Okay. And we go to work with live. And as I talked earlier, it's not part of the direction. We still have access to it from the player, but it is an instance variable rather than a value of the behavior. So we go here in instance variable, add 2, and we give a value of 10. However, we want that this happens only if the life isn't already at its maximum value. Therefore, we need to add another condition to this check. In the player, we need to compare an instance variable. If life is less than 100, that is our maximum value, then add 10. Okay. The issue is, if our life is 95 or something similar, basically anything between 91 and 99, adding 10, we will go over 100 points. So we need to add a new sub-event with a new condition, and we check if the player has a value of life greater or equals to 100. Okay. Oh, actually, sorry, it's greater than 100. Then the player life has the value set of life set to 100 because we don't want to go over 100. Okay, and this is done. Before we can work on the other animations, we need to go to the player's properties and create new instance variables. Let's add the new one and we call it laser. Let's leave a numeric number, a numeric type, and let's give a value of 1. So because we wanted this available since the beginning. Then we add the missile, we leave it to 0, and then we add the last one, that is fire, 0. So basically 0 means that the weapons are not available at the beginning of the game. Let's delete all of these actions, and let's say if collides with laser power up, set value of laser to 1. Okay, this seems useless since we start already from 1, but if you have some condition in the game that let you lose the laser, in this way you can have it back. Let's duplicate this condition, these actions in all the other 2 power-ups. And let's change this to fire. Oh, actually fire is the other one. Sorry, let's drag it. And let's change it to missile. Okay, done. Even after these conditions, nothing happens, because in the player controls we don't have anything yet related to these instance variables. Let's add another sub-event and condition once the player presses the spacebar. If the player has a value of life greater than 0, we don't use equals to 0 because in the future we might have the option to increase the power of the laser. So the more power up you collect, the more powerful the laser will be. So let's add the action here and then spawn the laser. Then let's duplicate this one and let's change this with a missile. Done. Actually this, sorry, was laser, not life, my mistake. And this one we replace it with a fire. Okay, let's delete this laser spawn and let's drag in back in action the bullets that we have disabled in one of our previous videos. Let's enable both of them, and that's it. From this side we have done everything, so we have now only to generate the power up in different way every time it's created. So we go on the power up, and where we say every 10 seconds we create the power up. With the speed the animation, we're going to change it So double click here and replace the speed with shoes. This is a function that lets us choose between different options. So choose, open brackets, quotation mark, life, close quotation mark, comma, open brackets. You can choose on the list as usual and go on, type in all the animations until the end. And the last one is fire, close brackets. Okay. The choose function is just a random choice between all the options that you write. So the computer will pick one for you every time you play the game in different way. To sum up, every 10 seconds the game spawns a power up and set a random animation choosing one of these. So in theory, we should have every 10 seconds a different power up. Let's see if we have this result trying the game. This is a test. In your game, you will increase the time necessary to spawn the power up, like every 50 seconds, 100, or whatever fits your idea. You can spawn it if the player destroys a certain amount of enemies, or maybe a particular different one. Your choice. Let's see. In this case, we got the red power up that increases the life, so we need to get some damage before trying this one. Okay, we got some damage and we recover the life. That's good. Let's see next. Okay, with this one we got missiles. Sorry, I make a video a little bit longer than usual, just because I want to show you the different power-ups. They come randomly. Let's try this one and we got a fireball now. So, I think we are good for now. Let's go back here. In the next video, we'll see how to improve our existing code. We'll see where it can be fixed to get better results. And I will give you some homework, leaving something to fix. In this way, you can experiment and see what might be the best solution to improve the game or solve some issues. Thank you for watching. Like and share the video if you think it was useful for you. And don't forget to subscribe to get notification about new incoming tutorials. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.